Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Kelly's Usborne Book Party. I'm really glad that you could join us tonight. Hopefully, you're all comfy on the couch and in your pajamas and enjoying your snacks and your drinks that you brought along this evening. My name is Crystal Allen, and I am new to Usborne Books as a consultant. Although I have been enjoying these books for many years with my family and my kids. As you probably read earlier in the first few posts, we homeschool our kids, and we have 5 of them, so I have quite a few bouncing around here on a daily basis. And we started homeschooling in 2012. And even though I enjoyed Usborne books before that, here and there, I had a few Usborne books that we had used. I really started appreciating Usborne and all their awesome knowledge and features when we began homeschooling in 2012. Some days I would find my kids, even after we were done reading, cuddled up on the couch, looking at the books themselves or reading them to each other. And anybody who works with kids or spends time with kids knows how important that is when you're trying to get kids to learn to love reading and love learning, how important it is for them to find things that they can enjoy. And so I really started to fall in love with these books much sooner than officially joining on to Usborne. But tonight, there are other posts coming up that are going to tell you all about so many books that we offer. We have such a wide array. But tonight, I'm just going to give you kind of a rundown of some of our favorite books in our house. Like I said, I have a pretty wide range of age of children. My oldest is my only boy, and he's 11. And then I have 4 daughters, one that is 9, one that's 7, one that's 4, and one that's about to be 2. So I have a pretty wide age range. No high schoolers yet, but some middle schoolers on down to toddler. So we have spent a lot of time enjoying these books, and so I just thought I would share with you this evening the ones that we love the most. So first off, my little one Everly is about to be 2, so she is really into books where we can touch and feel and interact. And not always happy about just sitting and reading. Sometimes she enjoys that, but as you know with 2, it's sometimes give or take depending on the day. So one of the books we have really enjoyed lately is The Zoo, and this is an Usborne Talk About book. What you can do is there are just a few words on each page, so that a lot of them have to do with questions about the animals or the pictures on the page. This one is looking at the animals, and they ask you how many kinds of animals can you see and which kind of animals have babies. But there are so many other things to look at and discuss. She enjoys pointing at all the different animals and telling me about them. She likes to look at what they're doing or talk about the funny things, like here the elephant has stolen the trainer's hat, or this one the little bird is peeking inside the crocodile's mouth, and so she enjoys talking about them and laughing about them. The rest of the book kind of takes you through the zoo, and you can kind of basically walk through the zoo together, only sitting on your couch. And she loves the fact that we can just sit and talk, and there's not a lot of rules about sitting quietly and listening. Like I said, sometimes she does that well, and sometimes she's happy to tell me all about what she sees. And so this is a great book, and a great series for those kinds of things. Another book that she's enjoying right now, and honestly my big kids sneak it every once in a while too, are the Usborne sound books. We have the farm sounds. My daughter is really into animal sounds, especially farm animals. And what I love about this book is every page has a different sound and talks about different things that are happening on the farm. So as you can see here, there's just a little spot where you can touch your finger and it will make the noise of the animal or animals on that page. So as you can hear, this one is a cow. And it tells you all about the cows, and it talks about birds and other things that are happening too throughout the day. But there's pigs, the tractor, and all kinds of things that are happening on the farm. So again, this is a fun one because there's lots of things happening. You can be searching through the pictures. They're really beautiful pictures, and the book is really sturdy, so that when my 2-year-old gets a hold of it herself, then she's not accidentally ripping it. I always feel nervous about that when at this age. But she has really enjoyed being able to push the buttons on her own. They're very easy to push, and so she can make those sounds without a lot of frustration. Some push the sound books are kind of frustrating for little ones, but she has had no trouble with these. Another one that my 3 youngest have enjoyed are the Muddle and Match books, and you're going to see more of these later on tonight. But this one is the Muddle and Match Jungle Animals book. And this one is a really neat book because you can make the story whatever you would like for it to be, mixing around the words, and it keeps the pictures funny and silly, and there's lots of things that can happen. And then the story still goes together no matter how you change it. So in this case, Patrick the playful parrot blushes as she breathes and balances to meet the mysterious magical meerkat. But a lot of times, if you stick with the same color, they'll kind of follow all of the same sounds. And I love that for even one of my bigger kids who we work a lot with speech sounds. These are really great when I'm trying to work with her on those. They're also really great for vocabulary. A lot of times there are large words that my littler guys have never heard before. So this gives us lots of discussion to talk about things that they might not have understood before, and they can ask questions or I can explain it. And it just helps enhance their vocabulary as they're growing. So we really love Muddle and Match. This one is a well-used book at my house. It's been around with Usborne for a very long time. And as you can see, mine is very well loved. My little one has managed to get a hold of its nose. But what's fun about this book, there's a mouse about the house. There are a few different ones that you can get. You can slip the little mouse through the hole in the book, and you can see it comes through the hole, and all of my kids have enjoyed this. My big ones take it and bring it over to do with their little sister, and sometimes they like to just play with it, period. But you can see the little mouse goes on adventures all through the house, and you can kind of see as he gets into different scenarios. Let me see if I can get it to slip back in. Maybe I can. There we go. And as you turn the pages, you can see the little mouse peeking through. And here, like right here, you can see we're trying to sneak away from the cat. And so you're going through the whole house. You're on an adventure. And so that one's a lot of fun for little hands and big ones because they enjoy all the activities and the adventures and being able to use it themselves to be able to put it through the holes and make the mouse go on the adventure that they want it to. My older girls have just loved the Unicorn Magic Painting book. There are other magic painting books, but my 4-year-old in particular is a unicorn aficionado. She believes that they are real and loves them the very most. It's her most favorite animal. And she has really enjoyed getting these out and painting them. I think one of the other posts, if you choose the right section later, will kind of show you them painting them, a person painting them. But what I love about this is that the paint is already on the page, and so as you take water to it, it turns the really beautiful colors that you can kind of see here, and you can see my 4-year-old's artwork. But it starts out, and you can't even tell that there is any sort of color on the page, and as they paint it, it turns the colors. It's a great sort of mess-free option. There you do use water, but it's definitely not dipping into the paint and then taking and slopping it all over the place. So I have really enjoyed this because even my littlest one can kind of play with this as well, and the mess isn't too terrible to clean up at the end. So our family has enjoyed being able to paint with the Unicorn Magic Painting book. Another really popular one, and I think you'll see this one multiple times throughout the videos, are the Shine the Light books. We have lots in this series. The one that we enjoy the most right now at our house is at the hospital. There are lots of reasons why. My husband is an athletic trainer and has spent many days in a hospital as his work setting when my kids were younger. And so they're all excited to learn more about things that Daddy already knows about. In this case, what happens in these books is you just go through the pages and they tell you about something that's happening, and then you can peek inside. Let me see if I can create it so that you can really see it very well. You can peek inside what's behind the walls and when you shine a flashlight behind. And so you can see what's happening, and they'll ask you questions about what you think might be coming. And then you can kind of guess or talk about it ahead of time, and then you can see what might be in there. This would be a really great book for anybody who's going to have to spend any time in the hospital, or anybody who knows somebody who has to stay at the hospital. It gives you a really good rundown of all the areas. It's not just about the things that happen that are medical, but they talk about the cleaning staff and the food staff and all different kinds of receptionists, and they just tell you all about the many different jobs that take place at the hospital. So we have really enjoyed this one because it's fun to shine the light, and in our case to learn more about medical situations and medical scenarios. Another one, my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old, although she's kind of outgrowing them, and really my 7-year-old's almost there too, have enjoyed are the Ella Diaries. These are really quick reads once you are catching on to reading. They move quickly, and they have lots of adorable pictures inside here that are just fun to look at and kind of think through. Ella is a lot of fun, and she a lot of times is just kind of talking in her diary, and that's really fun to read along with her. I felt like she was a really good option for my girls because she was about the same age as them, and so as they were reading through it, they could relate to her, and both of my big girls who are readers have enjoyed reading these and sharing them together. My oldest son and my oldest daughter have enjoyed the Academy series books. My daughter is interested in cooking, and so she chose Chef Academy. And my son is all about figuring out what he might want to do for a business in the future, and so he chose Entrepreneur Academy. And they enjoyed spending some time together, not working on their same book, but ones that were different. And so you can kind of see here, it's a workbook that kind of helps you think through lots of different things. They talk about all different sorts of things depending on the book. This one here is talking about better ideas, and just talking about how a lot of times people are just making things better, that really you don't have to come up with something that's brand new, that you can just make things better, and that is a good business as well. And so there's all kinds of things that they can think through here. I love the way that it pushed him to really consider outside of the box thinking, or to think more like a business person. He hasn't gone through the whole book yet, but I know what he's done so far he's really enjoyed. The next few books that I'm going to show you, we really enjoyed with homeschooling. Some of these we've completed, and some of these we worked through a lot of the science experiments. One of the series that we really used a lot was the science activity series. This is volume 2, but there are multiple volumes of this, and we did this multiple years. The curriculum that we used also had a video that came with it, but Usborne I don't think sells the video. I think they just have the books, but the experiments are incredible. They're really good hands-on experiments where the kids can really take part in what's happening. And they were great for my big family, where everybody could do a job and still be a part of the experiment. My kids were always really excited to see what we were going to be doing for the day. A lot of times the experiments are very quick and easy. It doesn't take very much time, and a lot of the things that they talk about are things you already have in your house or you could easily purchase. So this one is talking about air, and one of the experiments that they're talking about is collapsing a carton. So you can see here she's just using a cardboard with a hole and sticking the straw in and collapsing the carton, so you can really see that there was air in it, and then now it's not when you pull the air out or when you push it back in. There are so many experiments in here. I'm sure hundreds, because on every page there's usually anywhere from 5 to 10. And we enjoy doing most of these experiments. A lot of times each book covers many things, so they might be talking about air. I think this book talks about air, science in the kitchen, science with plants, and so there are lots of different experiments that you can enjoy. And so if you have a little scientist at your house, or somebody who enjoys learning the why about things, these are really great books for young elementary and maybe even middle school kids. A favorite at my house is the Usborne World of Animals book. And there are multiples in this series as well, but this one in particular was everybody's favorite. What they loved was learning about the animals. It made trips to the zoo so much fun, because we were experts. When we would get there, we would know more about the animals than the signs would tell us, which was really fun. And sometimes we would learn about animals that I'd never even heard of, and then, oh my gosh, when we got to the zoo, they were there and we could see them. And so we had a lot of fun learning about the animals. The pictures in this are absolutely incredible. It's almost like you're sitting there with the animals right next to you. You can see here that they're very bright. The pages are, again, very sturdy, so that even though my book here is well loved, my children have read it many, many times, you really can't even tell. And so there's just lots of animal facts. They tell you about all different kinds of things that are happening with the animals. Sometimes they might tell you about animals going extinct or things that would matter. Actually, this was one of the ones that I had never heard of before. I'd never heard of a capybara, And then we see it in this book, and just a couple weeks later, we headed to the zoo, and there was a capybara, the most enormous rodent I had ever seen in my life. But it was so fun to already know a lot about it. And we had a lot of fun going through this book, and my big kids, especially because they read it when they were younger, have still enjoyed looking back through it even after we finished it years ago. So this one has been kind of a staple in my family's house. The final one that I'm going to share with you, my big girls give absolutely 100% 5 stars. They have enjoyed this book so much. My kids love to put on shows. I don't know if you have girls or boys in your house that enjoy that, but at my house, my kids love to pretend and play, and this one is an absolute favorite. It is not one that everybody would try, and I don't think they talk about it in a lot of the videos, but this one has been absolutely the #1 pick at my house for the last few weeks. This is the Slot Together Theater book, and I believe they have other Slot Together books as well, and as soon as I look into those, I am planning on getting more because my children have played with them for so long. But what happens in this book, it comes in a really sturdy box with all the different parts that you do, and so you can kind of see as I open the pages, it shows you how to put together this little theater, and all the parts come with it. And they're very sturdy, and my girls, even though they've taken it apart and put it together multiple times, it doesn't look like that has happened at all. And so they put together this little theater, and then they get to put on the programs, the little theater shows. The one they put on the other night was the Nutcracker, and I loved watching them all work together to create this program. It was so fun. All of them would build it. The oldest one would read the story, and the middle oldest one, my 7-year-old, would act it out. And then my 4-year-old enjoyed being the lights and the curtain. And so I'm going to show you that in just a second. But you can see here it tells you all about the Nutcracker. And then once you get into it, you can see that it's the actual Nutcracker show that they can read the whole program. And so she's just telling all about what's happening. And she reads it just like you would hear if you were attending a Nutcracker ballet or something like that. And my girls have just loved that. So let me show you the little theater that's so neat. You can kind of see here, I'm going to hold it up, you can see here kind of a peek in through the side. But my girls have loved playing with this. They loved putting it together, they loved making the plans for it to turn out really great, and they loved putting on the show. They had the best time just getting everyone to come into the living room, and they turned off all the lights, and they would shine the lights, and it was really awesome. We had a really fun time as a whole family. So you can see here, there's a little curtain, and we're going to pull up the curtain. And I'm going to scoot it out of the way. And then as you tell the story, the characters can move back and forth throughout the theater. And you can see them fighting and all the things that should be happening as she tells the story. Or he, it could be anybody. Then you can also do things like change the backgrounds. There are different backgrounds within. You can see there's one there. And that's a little bit tricky to hold it, but you can kind of see there's different backgrounds throughout. And so the entire time they're changing and putting on the show and working all together to make that happen. So this one has been a really big hit at my house. So I would encourage you to check out these books. As you can see, there is such a wide array of books that Usborne offers. I would say that it really has something for everyone. Again, I don't have high schoolers yet, but I was watching a video this evening telling me all about some of the high school offerings, and they're so great. It makes me want to go out and even read them myself. They seem really exciting and fun. And there are just so many awesome things that Usborne offers, and so I just hope that you can look tonight and have a chance to kind of browse through our catalog and find some things that the kids in your life might enjoy as well. Thank you so much for coming to the party, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. Check in with me or message or post on the posts. The more that you post, the more chance you have at winning. We've got some little prizes at the end, and I'm excited to share those with you. So thank you again for attending Kelly's party. I'm excited to get to know you more as we party together. Have a good night.